I get this question all the time, so let's answer it. If you're someone who's living outside of the US, outside of Canada, maybe even outside of the UK, Australia, and you are looking to get into remote high ticket sales, I'm going to talk about in this video how to actually land a role not being from one of those countries. Typically, businesses that have the best offers are primarily focused on people from one of those companies, obviously depending on where the lead flow is. So if you're not in one of those companies, I know it can be a little bit harder to land a role, for them to give you a look, for them to give you a chance. So like I said, in this video, we're going to talk about how to go about that, how to get around that, and how to, at the very least, massively improve your chances. So we're going to talk about probably 4 things that you're going to want to do. And even if you are from one of these countries, even if you do have a track record, sales experience, and you're just looking for your next offer, doing these 4 things is going to increase your chances of landing a role as well. So this video can literally be for anyone who's looking to land a remote high ticket sales role. Doing these things will increase your chances, but it's even more important for people that it's a little bit harder for to do these things. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's jump into it. Let's stop wasting time. So small thing, and I've talked about it so many times, but the first thing that you must do if you want to skip the line, if you want to get ahead, if you want to land a role quicker, is reach out directly. It's such a small thing that so many people just don't do for whatever reason. Maybe they're just too lazy, maybe they're, relying more on the spray and pray application style, but you have to reach out directly if you want to increase your chances. What I mean by reach out directly is find that company on LinkedIn, find that company on Facebook, wherever the person's profile is. Find the CEO, depending on the side of the company, find the sales manager, find the team lead, find the HR person, find the recruiter, whoever it is that is closest to that decision-making process of hiring the next salesperson on the team. Find them, you'll spend a little bit of time doing some research and reach out to them directly, send them a message, connect with them, engage with their content, spend some time building that relationship. It is going to save you so much time instead of sending application after application after application. And it's part of why on Rep Select, which is the software platform I own, which helps reps find jobs, we source job opportunities for them. As we're sourcing job opportunities, we also, for most of the opportunities, either add the name of the contact of the person that you should reach out to, or add the name and the direct link to one of their social profiles, be it Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever, specifically to make it easier to do this. Specifically because I want you guys to be able to click it and just reach out. I want to make it super simple for you guys. So if you're not doing this and you're wondering why you're struggling to land interviews, this is probably a big reason why, because there are people that are doing this and those people are skipping the line. And in a lot of cases, the business owner's probably not even getting a chance to go through all the applications because they're just talking to the people that took the extra time to reach out to them directly. So if you're not doing this, you need to start. Secondly, is have a portfolio of work. Now this takes some work to set up, this takes work to put together, but especially if you're a beginner, especially if you don't have the experience, especially if you can't get on an interview or submit a resume that says, hey, I've generated 1 million, 5 million, 10 million in cash collected on 3, 4, 1 previous offer. Especially if you're a beginner, you need to build a portfolio of work because you just need to be able to prove that you can sell. If you can't prove that you can sell, why would anyone hire you? Really ask yourself this. Why would a business owner take a chance, spend money to buy leads, whether it's paid advertising, whatever? Why would they spend money on leads, give them to you without any proof that you can sell? So if you're a beginner and you have no proof that you can sell, get the proof. Create the proof if you can't get the proof. And what I mean by putting together a portfolio, you've probably seen a video. If you haven't, if you're new to the channel, I have tons of videos on this stuff, how to put it together, all that stuff. I even do a free call every single Monday in my community, link in description, to help people, kind of build this stuff up. And quickly, I'll mention it again here. If you don't know what to put in this portfolio, put everything that proves that you can sell, which would be call recordings, mock call recordings, not just any mock call recordings, but break it up into sections of what a business owner might want to see, which means examples of you handling the most common objections. That would be like one clip of me handling money objection, I can't afford it. One clip of me handling spouse objection. One clip of me handling XYZ objection, right? You're gonna have different clips of different objection handling. Maybe you'll have different clips of you doing discovery. Maybe you'll have different clips of you pitching different types of offers. Even better if you really niche down, we're gonna talk about that in a second. Maybe you have a couple full calls in case a business owner, again, wants to see the full call. I'd have a couple of those. But you wanna put together a portfolio of these call examples and these clips to show, hey, this is how I would sell, this is how I do sell, this is my sales ideology, so they can see if you're a fit for their offer. If you do have some experience on a role and you want to put this together, I would do all of that. But then to take it even a step further, screenshots of your tracking sheets, screenshots of the wins in the, you know, the sales channel of your last offer. Every time you close the deal, screenshot that, throw it in there. You know, maybe screenshots of commission checks, you know, pictures of commission checks that you received from other offers. You know, there's lots of stuff you can throw in there. Lots of stuff you can throw in there, but this is mainly about people that are struggling to land a role. So again, the call recordings are going to be some of the best things you guys can do. If you're in any programs or anything like that where you get certificates, you can throw that in there as well. You can also in there throw certificates in any niche specific stuff that's in alignment with where you want to work, like the type of industry you want to work in. Like if you have any digital marketing certificates, went through any digital marketing courses, programs, you know, schooling, whatever, I would throw that in there as well. Which brings me to the third point is if you're struggling to land a role, especially because if you don't have the actual sales experience side of it, you can bring the niche or industry experience to kind of bolster your resume, bolster the believability that you can sell that offer. For example, if you're someone who used to work in finance, maybe used to be a person that does taxes, maybe used to be an accountant, I would be going for a finance offer, right? I would be going for an offer that has to do with budgeting. I would be going for an offer that is in alignment with the experience that I already have, because then you can showcase to the business owner that you know how to at least talk to that type of clientele, those type of prospects, right? Let's say you used to be a nurse. There's an offer we just put on RepSelect the other day that helps doctors scale their practice. If you used to be a nurse and you've gone through some sales training, you could probably land that role even if you don't have the sales experience, because they're like, hey, at least this person has the right sales ideology. I like their role play clips. I like their portfolio. And I know that they know how to talk to doctors because they're a nurse. They know that industry. You're gonna look better than someone that might have a little bit more experience than you on that offer. You're gonna be a more obvious choice, right? So it's good if you pick a niche, especially if you're building that portfolio and you make that portfolio in alignment with the niche that you have industry experience with. Then that's when it becomes a lot easier as well, because not only could you, you know, be a previous nurse and applying for medical sales or helping doctors scale or helping them market their practice or get patients, whatever offer, but then your portfolio is full of pitch examples of you pitching the same type of offer. Like you're pitching like a business coaching for doctors offer, or like, because you can pick whatever niche you're doing in those role plays, and I would choose the one that I have the interest with. If all this thing comes together, hopefully you understand what I'm saying. But become a niche expert, you know, really hone in on an industry. Not saying you only have to apply to those roles, but it's better to pick something than to just, you know, kind of spray and pray and hope you get something. It's going to make it a lot easier for that business owner to understand that, hey, this person is probably a good fit for the job. And lastly, number 4, I would say you want to treat your job search like a pipeline. Treat it like how you would treat prospects, right? How do you sell if you're seeing yourself as a business owner, if you're seeing sales, you know, being a closer, being an appointment setter, whatever the role is, account executive, SDR, how would you treat your job search if you were in that role and the job was your, you know, service delivery, the recruiter or hiring manager was your prospects and the interviews were your sales calls? What would you do? You would have multiple touch points. You would nurture your leads. You would engage with them. You would build a list, build a pipeline of opportunities, and you would keep track of these things, right? So don't just one and done these things. Treat it like a pipeline. Network, build relationships with multiple people in an organization, especially if you really want to work with them. Don't be afraid if it's a great offer and you're like, hey, this is a dream company. I would love to work with them, even if it took months to work with them. Don't be afraid to build relationships over the long term. Don't be afraid to nurture for a few months or a few weeks before you actually reach out for the opportunity. I'm not saying that, you should always do that, but for certain ones that maybe you don't, that maybe they are really strict on the experience side and you can't land it yet, don't forget about them and just walk away. Stay in touch, add them to your pipeline, nurture them over the long term, maybe while you're working a different offer, right? In the short term. There's lots of things you can do if you view yourself as an entrepreneur rather than just, as a service provider, rather than just, hey, I'm just looking to become an employee for this other company. View yourself as a service provider, view the interviews like your sales calls, view the prospects as the interviewers, and you will be very, very different in your job search, right? Even to the point where I've seen the fastest way for people to land interviews is just cold calling the businesses, scraping their phone number, finding it, cold calling the businesses and saying, hey, I saw you guys had an opportunity posted for XYZ, who can I speak to in regards to being a part of the sales team? They respect the heck out of that because that's what they would want their closers to do. They would want their closers to have the balls to, just cold dial or dial someone or be intentional about their outreach as if they were a lead, right? They're going to see how you treat them as how you would treat their leads. So if you treat them in a way that you're doing follow-up, you're doing multiple touch points, you're engaging, you're calling, you're emailing, they're going to like that and it's going to be easier for you to learn. So make sure you're doing all these 4 things. We can get in more depth with this in future videos because there's so much different things, like we can go into each point, and I probably will at some point. But at the very least, do this stuff at the surface level. Even doing it a little bit massively increases your chances. And almost every single person that has told me they landed a great offer has done one of, if not all of these things. So do with that as you will. Hopefully that helps. See you in the next video.